persuasive. Imagine buying a $5 pair of pants today, wearing them twice and then disposing of them. The one pair of pants that ends up sitting in a landfill for decades, possibly centuries. And then think of the millions of other people who do the exact same thing. That's the real truth behind fast fashion. While fast fashion may seem like a cheap and affordable option at the moment, it does far more harm than good. It damages our environment, exploits workers, and allows for a culture of waste. The issue matters to all of you because we all buy clothes. And since we all buy clothes, we have the power to make a positive change. Think about your own closet for a moment. How many pieces of clothing have you bought on impulse? Maybe because it was cheap or trending at the time and then never wore it more than once or twice. If you're like most people, you can probably think of several. And that's exactly how fast fashion has managed to interlace itself into our daily life. The decisions we make while at the store or shopping online can either add to the problem or help create a real change. After looking into multiple studies and articles about the fast fashion industry, I've come to understand just how fast fashion damaging it truly is, not just for the planet, but also for the people who make our clothes and for us as consumers. So today, I want to show you why fast fashion isn't as harmless as it seems and how the effects aren't cheap. First, I'll explain how fast fashion harms the environment and how it exploits workers, and finally, how it encourages overconsumption and wasteful habits. Fast fashion poses extremely damaging consequences for the environment. Every year, people throw away tons of clothing, most of which ends up in landfills instead of being recycled. Much of this clothing is made from synthetic fibers, such as polyester and nylon, which can take decades or centuries to break down. On top of that, the production process itself is extremely harmful. Textile dyeing releases toxic chemicals into rivers and oceans, making it the second largest polluter of water in the world after agriculture. Communities that live near textile factories often see their water poisoned and ecosystems destroyed. Carbon emissions are one of the biggest contributors to the problem. As Carice Bailey and authors explain, the fashion industry is single-handedly responsible for more carbon emissions than international flights and shipping combined and uses 93 billion cubic meters of water annually. That's enough to supply millions of people with drinking water for an entire year. For example, rivers in Indonesia have been declared some of the most polluted in the world, largely because of textile dyes. That pollution isn't far away. It's tied directly to the clothes sold in American shopping malls or online shopping carts. Beyond harmful emissions, the fashion industry also consumes an extensive number of natural resources. To make one pair of pants, you would have to fill up your bathtub 40 times. That's wasteful, right? In some countries that produce cotton, rivers have quite literally dried up because of overuse. Imagine the river that kids grew up going to, demolished because of not caring about excessive waste. Unfortunately, the damage doesn't stop with the environment. The people who make our clothes are often exploited as well. Fast fashion depends on low wages and unsafe working conditions. Many factory workers earn only a few dollars a day, which is far below a living wage. As Tara Stringer and authors explain, worker welfare and modern slavery within the fast fashion industry remain a key supply chain challenge for many retailers, consumers, governments, and advocacy groups. Many factories often ignore safety rules and regulations, which has led to various tragic accidents, such as fires and building collapses. One of the worst tragedies of this exploitation happened in 2013 in Bangladesh when the Rana Plaza garment factory collapsed, killing over 1,000 workers and injuring thousands of more. The building was unsafe, but workers were forced to enter anyway. So all companies in other countries could sell $10 t-shirts. This is now the deadliest garment factory accident in history. The death toll from the building collapse at the Rana Plaza complex in the Savar district of Greater Dhaka, Bangladesh, stands at more than 1,100, making it the world's worst industrial accident, according to John Hobson. That disaster is just one example of the hidden human life costs behind on fast fashion. People are continuously exposed to unsafe working conditions and environments, yet nothing changes. More tragic accidents are destined to happen. Likewise, workers are regularly exposed to hazardous chemicals without protection, risking their health. In some regions, children are forced into labor at very young ages simply because it is cheaper for the factories. Many clothing brands have been linked to underage labor that many of you may not know of. To make matters worse, those who try to speak up about unfair treatment are often threatened or fired. In turn, measures in factories cannot be improved or regulated for unsafe working conditions or underage labor. This means millions of people remain trapped in a cycle of poverty and exploitation with little chance of improving their lives. Finally, fast fashion encourages overconsumption and wasteful habits among consumers. Clothing brands purposely release new clothing lines and pieces every week, pressuring people to constantly buy more. Fashion media explains this as well. Fueling the demand are fashion magazines that help create the desire for new must-haves for each season, according to Luz Claudio. The clothing itself is often of poor quality, made from cheap fabrics with poor stitching. This allows for items to wear out more quickly and be thrown away after just a few uses. Social media has only made the problem worse. How many of us have felt pressure to wear something that's trending now or your favorite influencer was wearing on TikTok? This cycle isn't accidental. It's planned by brands that rely on people believing last week's trend is already outdated. Many influencers often push the idea that repeating outfits is uncool, convincing millions of people that they need new clothes constantly. Think about this. How many of us have bought something only for it to shrink in the wash, rip after a few months, or colors fade away? This is actually by design. Companies rely on people to come back for more. This constant cycle of buying and discarding leads to massive fabric waste. Because people buy more and keep clothes for less times, millions of tons of fabric pile up in landfills every year. As sustainability satellites point out, this represents a significant loss of embedded resources, the water, energy, chemicals, and labor that went into creating the garment are all washed when it's landfilled. In other words, every shirt that gets thrown away isn't just a piece of fabric wasted. It's the labor of the person who made it, the gallons of water used to make it, the oil used to ship it, and the chemicals used to dye it. In the end, fast fashion doesn't create cheap clothing, it creates a cycle of waste, exploitation, and environmental destruction that our planet and people can no longer bear the cost of. While fast fashion may seem affordable and convenient at the moment, it comes at a tremendous cost. It pollutes the air and water, drains our natural resources, mistreats and underpays workers, and encourages all of us to waste more than ever before. Just because clothes are cheap does not mean they are free. The environment and people who make the clothes show that each and every day. So the next time you shop, ask yourself, is this really something I need right now, or is it just following a trend? The answers might not change the world today or tomorrow, but multiplied by thousands or even millions of choices definitely can. Now that you understand the true impact of fast fashion, you have the power to make more thoughtful choices when it comes to clothing. By buying less, reusing what we already own, and supporting brands that value fair labor, you can take the step in helping to reduce pollution, protect workers, and break free from the cycle of continuous waste. Clothes may seem cheap at the checkout, but the real price is paid by the planet and the people who make them. Every time you decide to shop responsibly, you send a clear message to the fast fashion industry that exploitation and overproduction are no longer acceptable. Your individual choices and actions might feel small to you, but together they can go a long way. Remember that fashion should be about finding your own style in a way that expresses yourself, not in a way that can destroy our planet. I have an ask of each of you. The next time you buy clothes, pause and think about the impact. choose secondhand, sustainable, or simply buy less. If each of us makes that small change, together we can slow down fast fashion and build a cleaner, fairer future. Thank you all for listening.